Hey, how about we jump in and talk straight about your product? You're developing a cold shower tracker, correct?
That's exactly right. It's a device that plugs into your shower head and it tracks the temperature, and duration of your showers, and then it automatically uploads it, to your own personal dashboard. So yeah, it's been really fun to develop. I built it for myself and I realized I like using it, and I live in a house with my friends and they like using it as well. So I was like, screw it, let's launch it. Let's try to get more people taking cold showers because it does have a positive impact on your life.
Yeah, nice. I hear we have two stories here already. One is your personal experience and how you came up with like the idea of even starting cold showers. I know plenty of people can't really overcome that initial hurdle.
Sure.
And then the second story about your product. Your product, do you have it with you? Can you share it? Show it?
Yeah, I can do a screen share to show you the dashboard. That's probably
Yeah,
the
cool.
easiest way for me to do it. So here it is. It's essentially a device that plugs into your shower head. Um,
So can you hover with your mouse because I'm currently not sure I see your mouse. Oh yeah, no, here we go. So you selling the whole thing? Are you selling the white box?
yeah, so I'm selling the box that connects to your shower head, and then there's going to be an attachment that fits with all standard American shower fittings. So yeah, it's going to pretty much be like a box that you stick close to your shower, and then you plug it in.
It's
And
like
it's
an
a
Apple TV for your shower.
Exactly. And the neat part about it is that it gives you your shower temperatures, your durations, and just some like important statistics about, you know, how your shower went. And I think like the real value in this is sort of the what gets measured gets managed. So I'm a big tracker, right? Like I
Mm.
track everything in a little notebook or in an Excel sheet. And I was doing that for my cold showers, and I kind of realized that it's a little bit cumbersome and I could use this extra push of it being like automated. And I think it does a lot of like net benefit having an automated system doing it, because if there's something in my shower reminding me that like, hey, you should get cold exposure this morning, it really helps. And then I just flick my hand in front of it. It's touchless. It turns on, and then I take my cold shower. And then after my shower, I have this like dopamine release of seeing these streaks that I've built, seeing the statistics. So it's not necessarily like you need this to take a cold shower. And if you can take cold showers without this, power to you. But if you're someone that's like, hey, I love tracking, I need that little extra push, and I want to commit to this, like I want to make this a
Mm.
part of my everyday life, like that's who this product is for.
Okay, cool. So more accountability.
Exactly. Working on
Does
some
it have like a social integration and a social part to it?
Yeah.
Like you can compete with people or share or get encouragement?
Yeah, I'm trying to collect some user feedback on that right now. It can be a little tricky, building a product, especially because sort of there's so many different directions you can go in. I'm really
Everyone has
talk
an opinion, right?
Everyone has an opinion. So it's just I'm trying to figure out exactly what people want and how I can spend my time building that. And kind of what I've discovered is the most important thing to me and people is the streak. So how often am I doing this? And is it as
Yeah.
often as I'd like to do? And it feels really good when you hit those goals? I think more so than the temperature, more so than the duration. It's like, hey, did I do this? Did I do it
That's the
yesterday?
consistency.
Exactly. And I think socially, that's a huge thing that I didn't think that people would care about, but it turns out that people do. In the office, I've been telling everyone about the project, and they started taking cold showers. They're like, yeah, I tried it this morning. It was only 5 seconds. And they were talking about it in person. And I was like, I didn't tell you to take a cold shower. I just told you about what I'm building. So it was really beautiful to see that, like,
That's cool.
even though they didn't have the product, it had just the idea had a small impact.
Nice. That's very interesting because I speak to so many people and very often they're interested, right? They're like, okay, what are the health benefits? Why do you do this? Does it really work? And then I explain and tell them what's the best technique, how to do it, how not to do it. And very often they don't do it. So
Yeah.
if a device can make a difference, that would be cool. So you're doing this by yourself at home? kind of just,
Yeah, exactly. So not at home anymore, but I was doing this by myself at home. Now I'm working in this space. It's called Slam Spaces, and it's pretty much a place for entrepreneurs to like take a bet on themselves. And they've like graciously given me a desk and all of the 3D printer materials that I can
ah,
use.
nice.
And I'm developing it for 3 months and trying to get, some semblance of product market fit. So, figure out who wants this, how much are they willing to pay for it, and does it add value to their life, right? Because that's the real
Yeah.
goal is like, I don't just want to like sell something that's collecting dust. I want to sell something that helps people build a healthy habit.
Make a change. Yeah. And when did you start and how long do you still have to figure out product market fit? Because I know this is really the crux of every business.
Yeah. So I started building in February. That was when I, ordered some parts on Amazon. I have until September to get, hopefully, my goal is to get 1,000 pre-orders. So can I get 1,000 people to give me their money and then I can go do a first round batch of this device. So that's kind of like the short term goal. The long term goal is for this to be just like, an Aura ring for your shower to help, as many people as possible. But the short-term goal is 1,000 pre-orders.
Okay, nice. And where do you stand at the moment?
I am not doing great so far. I only have 7 pre-orders, all mostly family and friends. But I think that's okay, because like they say, when it rains, it pours. So once I think I find one stranger that wants to buy it, I think there will be lots of them. So it's just a matter of breaking through.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's like advertising on Facebook. The algorithm needs to collect information first, understand your audience, and at first you think, wow, I'm losing money, nothing happens, and all of a
All of a
sudden
sudden, yeah.
the same ad works. You're like, weird. So currently you're a one-man show, you're producing this now in the office. And I mean, the picture that we saw before, that's not how it looks like at the moment. This is most likely AI rendered.
Yep.
And like, if I see, I think it's very cool to see the data and to kind of see what the other friends are doing and create this momentum. I'm just a bit worried about electronics in my shower.
Yeah. I think that's a very valid concern that others have voiced to me as well. And there's two things about that. So the first thing is that this device will be IP certified when it ships. So I'm actually legally not allowed to ship it unless the UL board approves that it's safe to be used in conditions.
What's IP and what is UL?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. That's engineering me coming out. But IP is an ingress protection test, which is sort of a standard for electronic devices. So, for example, your iPhone is IP.
It's the waterproofing.
Exactly. That means that you can submerge your iPhone in water at a 1 meter depth for an hour, and it'll be fine. So my device won't be IP68. Maybe it'll be IP 10x, just throw a number out. I'm not sure exactly what the rating
No.
needs to be. And the UL is sort of a compliance company that certifies you for waterproofing, for electrical safety, for all these different types of things. So actually in the
Okay.
United States, you're not allowed to ship a consumer product without it undergoing certain safety tests.
Okay. So what you're saying is no worries, put it in your shower
Yeah. And you don't,
because
yeah,
it's not connected to the circuit, right? It's just a battery or something. Or
exactly. And actually it's very low voltage and amperage. So it's
yeah.
it's like, I think the portable battery is less than like 1.5 amps it draws, and I'm actually working on getting it to be as small of a battery as possible.
You said it connects to a dashboard and currently is like, I guess on the web, it's anytime soon on like my phone, like a Sleek
Yeah.
app or anything.
Yeah, I can show you the dashboard. I can screen share it in just a second.
I mean, my question is also, can I travel with it or do I need to log on my computer, then take a shower?
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't work, or does it work anyway?
So it actually works without the dashboard is just like on the side. So there's no screens on the device. But when you enter the shower, you just have to put your hand in front of it and a little light will illuminate and that tells you it's recording. And then when you leave the shower, you just put your hand in front of it again and the light turns off. And once it turns off, it just uploads to your dashboard. So this is my dashboard, for example. And this is still under development. So it's like, working on getting this to be more aesthetically pleasing and give people the features that they
Yeah.
want. But yeah, like theoretically, if you're showering at home, but you're at work, yeah, just go to the website, go to your dashboard, and you can check out your statistics.
Yeah, okay, cool. Can we look at one of those charts?
Yeah, totally. So,
So how did you, I guess you did turn it warm after the initial cold session
so
there.
this is actually my roommate's shower. He showered this
Oh.
morning at 6:30.
Right, like if you have it installed in one shower, several people take it,
Exactly,
then
exactly.
okay.
And this is still a prototype. Working on doing like multiple features logging, working on what is important to people. But yeah, this
No.
is my roommate shower from this morning. It looks like he was cold for like a very little bit and then he turned it hot right away. But yeah,
Oh, he was just running the water
or he
until
was
it
running the
kind of gets
water.
warm.
Usually he tells me that he just jumps in straight away, but
No.
he's a cold shower guy as well.
Okay, nice.
Exactly. But yeah, the dashboard is really fun. I'm working on getting it to be more appealing to the eye and give people the information that they want. Because right now, it's really good for me because I'm such a data nerd. But it's like, what does the user care about? Do they, And I think the early hypothesis is that they care about the streaks. So we're working on doing more streaks. And I say we because we actually have added one team member that's helping us with marketing.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's a cold shower fan himself, and he's helping me figure out how to get the word out about this. So exciting stuff.
And tell me, how did you get started?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, not the startup, like your personal story.
yeah. So I think like many of us, this cold exposure has been in the cultural zeitgeist for some time, and I occasionally took cold showers when it was hot. I used to play water sports, and I used to pride myself on being able to do that.
You say cultural zeitgeist, you're in San Francisco, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's important for people to know because I mean, I come from Germany and Switzerland, and now I live in New Jersey, and wherever I am, it's kind of different. Some people are like, yeah, of course, cold shower is totally normal. And in other places, currently here in New Jersey, the people I talk to, they're like, no, I don't. I know this
Yeah.
one guy, he does that, but he's an athlete. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
interesting how different cultures can be.
It's really interesting because there's a gym that that fancy gym Equinox.
Yeah, heard of it.
They have only one cold plunge, I think, in all of their locations, and it's in the New York City one, which is
Oh,
interesting. Which is interesting when you say that people in New Jersey don't do too much
yeah.
with the cold exposure, but just a tangent.
Maybe it's the people that I know. Maybe I'm not in the right circles.
Exactly.
And clearly, you have, I mean, most of people who live in New Jersey, maybe not most of them, but many just work in the city, but then come home
Totally.
to live suburban family life and not be this crazy, fit, always out New York City type person.
Yeah. But yeah, no, anyways, I think in San Francisco, the Bay Area more so, I think there always has been like a cold exposure sort of not fad, but interest. People are interested in it. And I think more so it's like the online culture, so like the Wim Hofs and the Hubermans, the
Mm.
Joe Rogans, they always did talk about these things. And because I played water sports, I would think that I was partaking in it because we would, jump into the pool at 6 a.m. And sure, that pool might
Okay.
have been like 65 degrees, but like, in the morning, that feels really cold. So
No.
from there, when I started college, I wasn't really taking cold showers or doing any cold exposure really, but there was a moment in my life that was quite bad for me health wise. Like I wasn't working out a lot. I was just in class studying and I just felt like irky, like when your heart isn't beating fast enough, like you're not taking care of your body. And I was like, okay, like sometimes I don't have time to go to the gym. Sometimes I don't have time to do a full workout. But what is something that I can do every day that's good for my health, that can be like a stepping stone for building healthier habits. And the answer I landed up on was cold showers. And the reason was that there is absolutely no excuse except for me saying no to not take a cold shower. Like you're showering every day anyway, right? If you're
Mhm.
serious about your health and personal development, you can't turn the knob to the left and just let the cold water run across your body. And then I did it. I used to start by taking them hot at the start and then cold for the last minute or two. And slowly, like, and weirdly so, like, I started to, like, this might sound dramatic, but, like, get my life back together because all you need is, like, a little change, right? Like, a little bit of agency. And I was like, okay, like, I can do this thing where, I mean, most people aren't doing it, but I'm taking a cold shower every day. Sure, it's, like, only for 30 seconds and right at the end of my shower, but I'm still doing it. And then slowly I started realizing, like, okay, like, what if I take the cold shower for longer? And what if I move it to the start of my shower and then turn the shower hot at the end? And yeah, like over time, the habit just stuck. Like it was just like, okay, this feels really good. It wakes me up. It makes my skin glow a little bit differently. And I know that there's like health benefits to it. It helped with my inflammation. I run a lot now, and I think my knees are better off because I'm cold showering. Totally anecdotal. I'm not a doctor. But personally, for me, it just serves as this like anchor in the morning of like, hey, you did this thing that's good for your health. And, you know, it was hard, but now you feel good after. Like, yeah, it's just like a really easy way to sort of change your life in a positive direction.
I like how you said it at the beginning, where you said, even though I just do it for like 30 seconds after a warm shower. But I think that's the beauty of cold showers. You can get such a good feedback and such a good reward with so little time investment. And you don't have to go freezing cold to get the benefits.
Exactly, exactly. I've been doing more research on like the health benefits of them, and it turns out like, you know, most shower temperatures are not even that cold when compared to cold plunges or like doing an ice bath
Yeah.
out in a lake. Like 59 degrees Fahrenheit, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, even if you go up to 70 and it feels cold to you, like I think there's definitely like benefits.
There was this one study where they said basically it has to be below 60 or 58 degrees Fahrenheit to get you benefits. But I know that in this study, they didn't actually look at different temperatures. They just said, we are looking at this temperature. And then people knew, okay, we can be certain that if we go at this temperature or below, we get benefits. But no one tested like 1 degree above, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. Also, the studies on cold showers are quite limited. It's really interesting
Yeah.
because I would love to send a university like a unit, because this would be the most empirical way, is by using my device to like,
Yeah.
you know, test subjects. But yeah, it's weird because people shower differently. There's different water pressures. There's different amounts of your body that are exposed. There's so many factors that it's hard to like
Yeah.
pinpoint exactly what the benefit is. So yeah, I think it's more so like there is a benefit to cold exposure and it's on a spectrum, and, you know, try to get on that spectrum of benefits in the best way that you can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's best if you just start. And I always say cold showers are like a life skill, like riding a bicycle, like tying your shoes. It's not fun at the beginning, right? There's a learning curve.
Yep.
Your body needs to adjust. But then you can do it wherever you are. Or in times of crisis, let's say your warm shower breaks, and then you're relaxed because you can trust your body and you know you will survive that difficult time.
Absolutely.
And you actually benefit from it. And if you look at how many cold showers you can take until the end of your life, and it doesn't matter if you miss a few days. That's what I want to tell people every time. When they think of cold showers, very often there's this image of, oh, now I have to avoid warm showers because they're, I don't know, bad or whatever, destroying something. But that's not the case, right? If you want to shower warm, take a warm shower. That's what Wim Hof says as well. Like, he likes the sauna, he likes warm showers, but he very much loves cold water.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've also been experimenting with features of like total cold exposure every week, so you can kind of hit a goal without having to feel
Yeah.
guilty about your hot showers.
Yeah.
So I think that would be like a fun thing as well. It's like, hey, you don't, not every shower all the time has to be super cold. It's more so like just do it as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, and look at your recovery, right? Because if you overdo it, especially at the beginning, it might tax your body too much. And instead you should actually listen and build up gradually. And I guess your tool could help, because then you see, okay, now I was there for like 2 minutes at X degrees. And then tomorrow I can do maybe 2.5, or maybe I take a break and give my body some time to adapt.
Absolutely.
That would be super cool. Did you reach out to any medical people or other researchers who are interested in such data?
Yeah, I sent some emails, but I haven't like received a response yet. I think a lot of the researchers are in other countries, and it's just kind of like hard to like, you know, reach them and figure out a time to
Well,
chat.
luckily you know me,
I do know you. Yeah, luckily I do know you. I don't know if you
and
saw
I
this.
know a few researchers.
That's amazing. I would love to get in touch. I don't know why, but most of these studies were conducted in the Netherlands, like the cold shower and cold exposure side studies. Is that true, or was I just on one?
No, well, I mean, it depends on how far back you look. So I know there have been quite a few in Switzerland, a few in the Netherlands. Mike Tipton is very active in the UK. The thing is, if you look at the differences in terms of cold training across the globe, then the US, from what I've seen so far, is very much product oriented, in the sense that people take an ice bath. Like most of the ice bath companies are here in the US. But if you look at the winter swimmer scene and ice swimmer scene, that's Europe. Switzerland, UK, very big, obviously, right? Places where you have a lot of exposure to cold waters.
Right.
And that scene has been pretty big for a very long time, but it was just not very well known.
Yeah.
And when I started the Swiss Cold Training Association in Switzerland, I came from a Wim Hof method background. That was in 2017. So I started in 2015 and I thought Wim Hof is the only one, and he kind of invented cold baths and everything. And then over time, I noticed the community of winter swimmers is way bigger and they haven't even heard of Wim Hof.
Yeah.
So eventually, I combined basically everyone, people from a Kneipp background, Wim Hof, ice swimming, winter swimmer, world champions, basically everything, researchers, medical people. And I think that's where the magic lies. Bring everyone together, bring them on.
I have a question for you, and I
and-
think this is like so
Sure.
interesting because it sounds like, you know, at least in Europe and the communities and circles you've been in, people have had access to these like cold bodies of water. But I grew up in California and lots of people just don't, right? So like the cold shower is really the only option for any type of cold exposure. So I'm just curious, like, what's that like inflection point between like cold plunge slash, you know, ice and lake swimming and cold showers? Like, can you replicate the benefits? And how does someone in California or Arizona or, you know, even someone that lives in India reap the benefits of cold exposure?
That's a very good question. There are, I would say, different aspects to immersing yourself in cold water. So what everyone can do, right, is fill the bathtub with water, preferably cold, and then dump ice as much as you have to bring it as cold as you want to. So you can do that in India, Switzerland, California, no matter where. In terms of cold showers, if you live in a warm climate or if it's in the middle of summer, there are not that many things that you can do. Currently, I'm testing a product. Let me quickly change my setup here because I use it as a microphone stand. You can simply, do you see that?
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is from a couple in Australia. They saw a post from Wim Hof in the Facebook group, and he was basically holding a, what's it called? A strainer underneath his
Shower head.
shower.
Yeah.
It's had some ice cubes in it and said, hey, are there engineers out there who can make this? And then they basically used the strainer mechanism, put some straps on it, and now you glue it into your shower, and that's how you get a colder shower.
Wow.
It does have some what do you call it, downsides to it, because the water just cuts holes through the ice. At the beginning, it's cold, of course, but then the water basically flows through the same holes.
Yeah.
And you basically need to change the structure again. And for some people, it might be too cold. So that's a bit difficult. The other thing that I want to touch on is if you expose yourself to the cold and you are in a lake, for example, or in the sea, the feeling is so different compared to a regular ice bath. I know Thomas P. Seeger, the founder of Morosco Forge. He's a strong proponent of Epsom salts. And he says if you put enough Epsom salt into your ice bath, it mimics this feeling of being in nature. And he also has that grounding feature in his ice baths. So it's kind of mimicking the natural experience. Me personally, I would always go into nature if I have the chance, because it's just, there's an additional benefit of just having that space around you, maybe hearing birds,
Yes.
having fresh air.
Absolutely.
That's great. And stupid story. I came to New York City, or actually Jersey City, with my wife a year ago. And we came from Switzerland, where you have so many lakes. You can basically drive 10, 20 minutes. You have another lake. So I come to New York City thinking there's plenty of water. That's cool. I will just create another meetup group, have a few friends, jump into the Hudson River. The first time I mention it to someone, yeah, even you from San Francisco are like,
No, don't go in the Hudson River.
yeah, this is where planes land, apparently, but not people.
That's so funny.
And then I said,
that's the most European thing ever. Let's go swim in the Hudson River.
yeah, well. And then I thought, well, I go into the ocean. And then they were like, well, there are great white sharks, so maybe not. And obviously I don't want to drive like 1.5 hours
Yeah.
just to get to the sea. And then I looked at local bodies of water, I found a few, most of them restricted, totally fenced off. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, yeah, this is a reservoir. This is a whatever. Or it's like a little pond and it looks like you don't even want to go in there.
Yeah.
And if there's a little stream through the city or so, they say, no, this is so, I don't know, chemically or whatever polluted. You don't want to go in there.
I think I experienced something similar. So I went up to Mount Shasta, which is like a local, not local, but like it's in Northern California, and they have cold water there because it's a lot of snow melt, rivers and lakes.
Yeah.
And I tried to jump in, but the problem with it was that it was like very murky, right? Because all of the lakes are surrounded by soil. So then it's like a very unpleasant experience. To first of all, you have to deal with the cold water, which is hard. And then like your feet are sinking into dirt and you're like, this water is...
You don't know what's coming up.
Exactly. So I've never swam in a body of water in Switzerland, but I would jump to the conclusion that those might be a little better suited for...
They're perfect. I mean, they have infrastructure for bathing.
Yeah.
We, from the Swiss Cold Training Association, we opened the first winter swimming pool in Zurich, like an official one with lifeguards and everything. And before that, I just went to like a public one with access for everyone. People would walk by and say, are you crazy? Did you lose a bet? Why are you doing this? And that was like 2015, 2016.
Right.
And these days, everyone's like, yeah, I did that as well.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Yeah, it's weird. I would love to see more publicly available open bodies of water here in the US because there is plenty of water. But the perception of water and how you use it is completely different.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's not as commonplace to just jump into bodies of water here.
Yeah. I wanted to have a map of Switzerland with all the different lakes and kind of tick off which lake I've been to.
Wow.
And I started a mini Google Maps version of that where I said, if you know a good cold spot, just tag it, pin it here, and then upload a few pictures, tell people what's available, how you get in, how you find it. Didn't pursue it, but yeah.
I will say this, the one good place to do cold exposure in California, especially Northern California, is the Pacific Ocean because I don't know off the top of my head exactly how cold the water is, but there's nice beaches along the coast of Northern California, and even if it's hot outside, like 80, 85 degrees, you can go into the water and it'll still be quite frigid. So yeah, that's definitely a solution for people. But the Pacific Ocean is only accessible to some people, right? Like not to everyone.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah, and usually the ocean feels a lot colder because there's higher... higher amounts of salt, so the conductivity is improved.
Right.
And of course the water is moving, which makes a difference as well.
Totally. It like carries more heat away from you.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, have you sort of maintained a cold exposure streak, whether that be with cold showers or with a cold plunge, or do you just do it sort of on a like a as you wish basis?
Yeah, the second one. So my background was always to tell people you need to do it in a safe way and enjoyable way. And cold exposure or cold training is not about forcing yourself. And here I'm going against the Joe Rogans and everyone else who's like, just be a tough guy. And I remember Joe Rogan saying, I have this little bitch in my head that says, oh, you don't want to do it in this more. But then the general comes in and says, you go in there, I do it for the benefits. And this costs not only willpower, but also makes the whole experience less enjoyable. And there was another story from a seasoned winter and ice swimmer, like, I don't want to say professional, but she competed on international championships. Swimming in ice means swimming at 5 degrees Celsius. That's like, I think, what is that, 42 maybe? And she came to me with a realization after, I don't know, 1 or 2 years. Hey, when I swam, I didn't push anymore. I just gave in to the cold water. And I was like, really? No shit. This is how you do it. But apparently so many people are pushing through it. They're like, I want to do this. That builds, I don't know, mental toughness. And I think the way to do it is just to relax. I always say first goal is relax actively. You get this impulse and you just say, thank you for the signal. I will just relax. Lower your shoulders. Stop kind of clenching your teeth and relax. And the second goal is to warm up actively. Everything that you do in between, how long you're in the cold, how cold it is not as relevant according to my experience. So that's why I say listen to your body, get in tune with your body, and don't just whip yourself through another painful experience that apparently is good because someone on some blog said
Totally.
there is this benefit. You don't have to follow this societal dogma of we are now doing cold showers.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and especially like in my case, you can see I have no hair. That's because of my 2 kids. Just kidding. I love you, kids. No, it's like if you sleep poorly, if you feel like you're getting sick, if you have a lot of stress already on your plate, you don't need to add more stress and tax your body.
Yeah, I think that's a really great perspective. I used to be more in the forcing camp. I think that might be a symptom of sort of the American Joe Rogan culture at times. But I think the reality is like forcing never helped. It was most helpful when I wanted to do it anyways. It was like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm doing this and it's going to be a little bit tough, but I'm going to feel better after. So, there was a lot of joy in that. And I think more people should lean into the joy.
Absolutely. What helps so much is if you just stand in front of your shower and you make a commitment. Do you know those karate exercises where they chop a wooden block?
Yeah.
You don't just force yourself and you're like, I'm going to do this. You stand there, you center yourself, you focus, and then intentionally you make one cut. I mean, it's the same thing with a cold shower.
Yeah.
Your body prepares internally without you noticing. And when it's ready, it'll tell you.
Could you walk me through like your cold shower routine? Because I feel like you're so knowledgeable about this. I'm just curious about what your process is.
So it depends, of course, on where I am, what time it is, how I slept, and so on. But what I do is usually I know in advance whether I take a cold shower or not. It's not like I'm just sleepwalking to my bathroom and then I stand in front of the shower.
So wait, I'm just curious. So it's always in the morning, cold shower?
No. I love it in the evening.
Okay.
Because very often so how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay, so I am 41 and I have kids that are 4 and 1 year old. So imagine being interrupted once, twice a night, forever.
Yeah, I totally can imagine.
Yeah, so actually, I think you cannot imagine.
I can't imagine, but I have a niece and my cousin seems like really tired and more cranky than before she was born.
Yeah, same here. So when I know I don't really have time in the morning because I know my cold shower or my cold training ends when I'm at the same temperature that I was before. So it's not I turn off the cold shower and I'm done. The cold training for me is done when I'm back to normal and I'm feeling good.
Right.
And sometimes, especially at the beginning, I would just force it into my daily routine, take a cold shower, then shower a bit warm, then shower cold again, then get dressed, then have a coffee, then rush off to the tram, then go to work, and at 10 o'clock, I'm still cold. And that's not happening anymore these days because I take my time. It takes longer, but my body likes it much more, and my brain says, this is something to look forward to. So I created a routine that my body knows is survivable and enjoyable. So basically, I take the commitment and then I talk to my wife and I say, hey, I will take a cold shower. I will not be available for whatever. Can you cover? And if that's cool, then I have my time and I don't have to stress out. I know everything's good. I have 15 minutes and then I go into the cold shower. I shower only cold and also shampoo, shaving, everything cold. And then at the end, I just stand in the cold shower and I tell myself to warm up. So I close my eyes. I'm like in a position where I put my hands to the side and I tell myself a little mantra. In German, I would say like my body produces so much heat that I sweat. It rhymes better in German than in English, but I say that over and over and over again. And you can really feel if you close the shower, let's say you have these glass elements or you have just a curtain, leave that closed and then do your warm-up exercises. And if your girlfriend, wife, roommate, whatever comes in, you can open then again and they will feel the warmth that's coming out. And that's really what you're training with cold showers. It's this inner capacity to build heat. So yeah, once I feel good, then I get out, dry off and go about my day. And sometimes if I shower really cold, really long, then I put in some exercises afterwards. Exercising after cold showers is really good to raise your testosterone levels. So that's why I'm doing it as well.
Are you cold for the entire duration of the shower or for just the start, the middle, or the end? Like how does that work?
Completely cold all the time.
Okay.
So I shower cold, whatever is left of my hair, I wash cold, I shave cold, I take breaks in between, then shower cold again. When I began, well, that was like 10 years ago, I would do the whole thing of like looking at a clock, 10 seconds, next day 20, 30, being proud, wow, 30 seconds, woo. And then warm ending with cold, then starting with cold, warm, then cold,
Mm,
then only cold, and yeah.
that's interesting. So it sounds like at the start you did try to modulate more, maybe because it was harder at the start.
I was taught that way. So I followed a course from Wim Hof, and you don't have to do that because if you do it this way, you don't focus on what's really important, which is relaxing actively and warming up afterwards. It's more of this force yourself, but do it for 10 seconds.
Sure.
And what you learn is forcing yourself. And what I teach people is just start on the lowest increment, which is your foot. Put the shower on the coldest setting, and if that's not possible, do it in the most acceptable cold setting, and then look at how your body reacts and control your breath. And once you've mastered your foot, you go up to your shin, then you go to the other side, and then you move up, and then you go to your arms, up to your shoulders, and then once you have legs and arms, basically extremities covered, you go to back, belly, everything else up here. The reason being, so up here you have a higher density of cold spots. Down here it is less so. You know that from winter. You go outside in jeans, but you have a warm coat up here. You wear a scarf up here, but not on your legs.
That makes sense. It sounds like it's a very, like, for the lack of the right word, spiritual process almost. It's like you're very in tune with yourself when you're doing this. So I'm just curious,
Yeah.
do you like reflect on your cold exposure over weeks or months and like how is this cold exposure impacted your life? Like, is it just all in your head or are you like thinking about it, talking about it to people, writing it down somewhere?
I'm not tracking it, and it has definitely changed, and I have changed, of course. A big learning for me was that was kind of embarrassing at the beginning. I was the president for the Swiss Cold Training Association for 5 years, and I was someone who had a burnout at 26, so I would just be all head, no body, just whipping myself into action, do. And you can rest when you sleep, basically. Totally stupid, but I had the energy until I didn't have it anymore. So I had to learn what it means to breathe into your belly, what it means to relax, what it means to have relaxed shoulders and everything. And the cold showers and the breathing were really great teachers. The thing is, though, I always see health as a balance of stress and relaxation. And what I did was, with the help of cold training and breathing exercises, I increased my stress tolerance. So I basically had really good recovery here, but then I would just increase the stress because now I had more energy.
That makes
Which
sense.
means you end up with the same issues and your body is still overtaxed because you're basically used to have this mental programming that says, I do as much as whatever. And that's different for everyone. For me, it was, I do as much as until I can't do it anymore. And that wasn't very healthy. And I had to learn that. So over time, I became so sick, especially with my kids being born, sleep getting poor, and then kids going to a daycare, coming back with all those viruses, that we were running the winter swimming pool, and I was the fucking president, and I was not going into the water preaching about health benefits of cold training.
Yeah.
Felt like a fucking phony. So yeah, over time, I realized you can't always do it, and there's no benefit in having these streaks. I know people on YouTube who are like, day 568,000 of taking a daily ice bath. Yeah, so what, right? I mean, it's interesting to see what happens. And at the beginning, I was rather putting on the brakes on doing too much, because I said, you rather enjoy it and don't injure yourself and just do it on a sustainable way instead of doing it every day and then at one point hating it or just having an issue. But then I interacted more with Thomas P. Seeger, and he was a big proponent of doing it daily, and he showed some other people who did it daily to combat cancer and overcome other issues. And then I was like, interesting. So maybe it's more about how do you compensate the stress from the ice bath in the same day or at night? And if that is more or less in an equilibrium, you can go every day, right? Just don't go from I've never taken a cold shower to daily ice baths. I don't, and then like have your all the other stuff that you do, like a job kids, school, university, whatever. Yeah, does that answer your question,
I
Maurice?
think so. It sounds like you're a big proponent of like listen to your body. There's no need to do any more cold exposure than you want, and it's more important to like balance your
Yeah.
health than to just brute force it. So that does make a lot of sense.
Absolutely. You don't get healthier by stressing your body more, and the cold is a stressor. And let's not forget that. It's not a magic pill that is like cuddling on your couch.
Totally.
It's like do something. It's fight or flight.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Fight or fright. Yeah. That's what I learned, and I think you asked something about like what changes I noticed. So it's definitely more energy. It is definitely feeling really nice during winter times. I wear my very thin fall jacket all year round if I need a jacket, even in the coldest winter. Testosterone levels, libido goes up, right? I tend to wake up at night. Sorry if you don't want to hear this, tune out for 2 seconds. I have boners that wake me up because they're so hard at night. It's crazy. And I can tell I don't have that effect if I don't do cold showers or like ice baths for an extended period of time and have continued stress.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. And again, Thomas P. Seeger, let me quickly get the books from him.
Sure.
So this one here is his first book, Uncommon Cold, where he talks about all different health issues that anecdotally people had good experiences with using ice baths. And then the second one is only about testosterone.
Wow.
Right, so we don't have really good scientific data. He does tap very much into science and studies, but so far there hasn't been like a big cohort,
Yeah.
like a large study that tests this. I would love to do that because essentially cold training trains and improves your mitochondria. There's these two specific terms, apoptosis and autophagy, which basically means improval, repair of mitochondria and programmed cell death, and then creating new mitochondria. And if you have more little battery packs all over in your body, then what can your health become if you have more energy, right? How well can your phone run if you have a stronger battery?
Right. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I echo the point where like I wish there was more like comprehensive research that gave us more specifics into what the health benefits and risks are long term, right? We need to know both. But I guess I'm curious about one more thing. I know that like you help people begin cold exposure. I'm just curious, like what does that process look like? How, who are you helping, and does it stick, or is it just like a very small percentage of people have this like Zen moment like you where they're like, hey, we feel really good throughout the rest of the day, and we found this health balance of being able to do cold exposure without forcing ourselves into it. I'm just curious, like, what your experience is.
Yeah. So I think I'm at a similar point like you, where friends and family are very open. Strangers, I had some people join my community online, and some of them were very happy about the feedback that I gave them. One guy said, wow, just joining the community helped me be more accountable. And I actually don't need any further input from you. I just do it every day.
Yep.
I think it is a stretch for people to imagine that cold showers can be something that's enjoyable. Because most people have the experience, I have to force myself into this because every cell screams, you're stupid.
Yep.
So it is a bit too good to be true if I say, I'll teach you how to enjoy it and you will have an ally for the rest of your life. So what I did is took it down a step and I said, here is the easiest, laziest, coziest cold training challenge that you can do. It's the Netflix and chill, and the chill is literal chill. So I created a course where you can just dunk your elbow into a bowl of cold water with or without ice cubes. And I wanted to make the threshold so small that really everyone can do it, because people watch Netflix or whatever, right? So the only thing you need to do is put a bowl of ice cubes with a little bit of water and put your elbow in there for 2 minutes. And if you do that every day, at least you get, of course, you don't get the same benefits like from an ice bath. That's not possible. Also not compared to a cold shower, but you do get benefits because your body adapts to that. And then I think people will lose this resistance to cold showers or to cold water in general. And again, maybe I need to promote it more, but I haven't had that many people join. So now I'm focusing on overcome your resistance to cold water, because I think that's really the thing that holds people back. This initial step. And
So it
sorry.
sounds like your method for doing it was like starting small and then more and more cold exposure over time.
Yes.
Is that how you started?
No, not at all. I started stupidly. So I saw the Wim Hof Vice documentary in 2015. Then I did some push-ups after the breathing exercise and realized, wow, it has an effect. Then I took cold showers, and after, I think, a few weeks, I jumped into like a freezing lake. It was, I think, 4 degrees Celsius, and then I was sick for 3 days. Stupid! Yeah, I know. And that's why I say, don't do it this way. Right? I mean, of course, you can go to a Wim Hof event, you can go to some other retreat, you can go to gym or like a spa where they have a cold plunge. But usually if people don't tell you exactly how to warm up and how to implement it in a daily regimen, then it's difficult to stick with it.
So what happened after the 3-day sickness? Did you go right back to the cold showers or did you have like a divorce with cold exposure for a bit?
Yeah, I nearly had a divorce with my wife because my wife was like, I told you this is going to happen. You're never going into the lake again. God damn it. And I was like, okay, now I have 2 problems. And what I mentioned before, if you have a bad experience, that sticks with you because now your brain wants to protect you from another bad experience because, hey, it happened once, so it can happen twice. And of course, every time I went in, I was thinking, will I get sick? How is it now? And of course, I paid more attention. I was more intentional. I warmed up more. I didn't stress myself afterwards. I took some time to rest and recover. And then it was good. I was never sick again after a cold exposure. So, but it did take a good while. And my first ice bath with like ice cubes swimming on top and everything, it took me, I think, nearly a year. And it was during my Wim Hof method instructor education in Holland.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, it's just funny because it's like do as I say, not as I do, which is like because
Yeah.
you're so experienced, you know what you did wrong and you're trying to help other people avoid those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time I see people on YouTube, because obviously I watch a lot of these YouTube videos on cold showers, I see how people force themselves in and then they cut off the video right when they're done. I'm like, no, that's the most important part. Continue. Or there's a guy, maybe you've heard of Andre Ragetli. He's like I don't know what it's called, like cross ski world champion. He does crazy jumps and like is a young guy, very athletic, very sporty. He, for some reason, thought he has to go into a frozen lake. So he cut a hole and he said, I will prepare myself for 7 days. So he started with the Wim Hof method, did some breathing, took some cold showers and maybe some cold baths. And then he went from his, 2 to 5 minute training to a 30-minute ice hole experience. And that's also a reason why I say the duration in the ice doesn't really matter, because your body just gets colder. And at one point you will start feeling warm. And if you start feeling warm, you're hypothermic. That's basically your body preparing yourself to go into a better place where it's nice and warm eternally. And he goes out and he says, oh, that was now really tough. Oh, now I'm going back home. And then you don't see what happens. And usually if you see someone spasm after such an event, because that's when the whole cold blood goes into your core, you're just uncontrollably for like very, very long. You can find some videos of that online. It's not very pretty. You can't really talk. You can't control yourself. You're just lying somewhere. That's your body's last defense to create warmth. And if you can't do that anymore, you're a lost case.
Wow. I think there are some real dangers over cold exposure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have to push it, obviously, but I always say, you know how long you can stay in the cold after warming yourself up, right? So if it takes you 15 minutes to warm up, you know, okay, my cold exposure was, could be offset with 15 minutes of warm up. Next time you do more cold exposure and it takes you 30 minutes to warm up. Then you know, okay, that was a bit more. And if it takes you even longer, then I guess you overdid it. And unfortunately, people come in with this mindset of, I have to be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, Or I have to be longer than last time. Why? It's a different day. You slept differently. The weather is different. Like, what's the point in increasing your time?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And I know Andrew Huberman talks about those walls of adrenaline that you have to overcome. You don't have to look at the time and whatnot. He just says there's always another wall of adrenaline coming. But if you give in to the cold water and if you relax, there's no wall of adrenaline. Of course, at the beginning, there might be a little spike, but then you just totally relax. And I always tell people if they want to take one technique away from this podcast, you can just do like this in your shower. And let your tongue hang out. It looks totally silly, but it relaxes one of the strongest muscles in your body. And if you're relaxed here, it sends a signal, hey, we can relax. We don't have to tense up.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Come on, give me a silly face.
I'll try it in the shower first.
Okay, cool. Your device should actually take pictures.
I think that would be an interesting feature add-on.
Random snaps.
Random snaps, exactly. But yeah, really interesting. I think I got such a new perspective after talking to you because I was very red-pilled in the like force yourself, just do it, come on. But, interesting to hear this like different perspective of wellness and like listening to your body. And I think there's a lot of value in that.
Cool. Very happy to hear. You're one of the people who are willing to listen. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, I am a cold shower bro at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, true.
So do you think more people are taking cold showers nowadays? Less? What do you think?
So I am in several communities, but usually people who are in there are already sold, and I don't know what sells people. I guess it's influencers mostly, like YouTube people or so. So I'm on Reddit forums, Facebook groups, school communities. My goal is to establish this like a household name. I want parents to ask their kids, did you brush your teeth in the morning? And then did you take your cold shower? Because once you've established that at a young age, you can keep it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And if you look at health costs, dependency on medication, and this whole notion of I need to go to my doctor because he knows what's good for me in terms of health, I want to dial that a little bit back and tell people you can listen to your body and then you will make smart decisions. And of course, there is absolutely a justification for medication and interventions and all of that. I'm just saying, don't give away the responsibility of health to someone who makes money by prescribing medication.
Right. Yeah, it's a great take.
Yeah. Actually, let me put this out there. My big vision is at the end of the current presidency, like the current government, I would like to be, or I aim to be, congratulated by the person who's in charge of health and who tells me, Simon, because of your work, you brought this technique to so many people and we've seen an increase in health or a drop in health costs or whatever. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm dreaming of.
That's a great goal. It's like the goal to help people through cold exposure, right? So that's amazing. Yeah. That's my goal too. Yeah. It's to be known as the person that helped people start their cold shower habit and get into cold exposures. So yeah.
Very nice. At the beginning, we talked about ideas and that they're not really worth anything unless you execute on them. So here's an idea that I'm not executing on, but I think it's cool. And if someone wants to steal it or work with me on it, let me know. Ice bath Airbnbs. So I have an ice bath at home. I'm using it once a day. Why not use Amazon Key for my garage, give it to other people, and let them use it for a small fee?
That's a great idea. Like they say, execution's everything. So curious to see what entrepreneur can build that.
Yeah, maybe Airbnb does that as in like an added-on feature.
I know, that'd be really cool. So yeah, you can, if you're interested in cold showers, you can go to iShiver.com. That's iShiver.com, and that's where I'll be working on this product. There's a little contact me box if you have any feedback, and feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at Oberoi Rajveer, Oberoi Rajveer. Those are my socials, and I'm always love to connect with people that are passionate about cold showers. So thank you.
Nice. Do you look for someone specifically to add to your team at the moment?
I'm looking for people that are good at marketing and curious and passionate about cold showers. That's kind of my goal right now. We're trying to reach our customer and find out who this product is useful for. So if you're a marketing person or a product person and you like cold showers, reach out to me.